Hey, there you are. Are you one of the volunteers? Well, I hope so. I'm urgently looking for at least 1,000 people that want to learn how to draw. Now, in my Fun Times Family Art, I show you how to draw just by using the basics of shapes. It can't be any easier. And at the end of each tutorial, you'll have drawn a lovely little picture. My name's Robbie Greer from Rusticated-Art, and this is Fun Times Family Art, where people just sit around in front of the TV or whatever device they're using and they draw along with me. You know, the amount of people, especially ladies, that come up to me when I'm sitting there drawing it either at my exhibition or at the market or wherever I'm drawing, and they say to me that as a child they loved to draw, and then life got in the way. They had to get educated, they had to get jobs and careers, and then marriage, and then children, and all of a sudden everyone's flown the coop and they're left on their own, and they want to reconnect with that artistic side of them that's been lacking for so long or been missing for so long. So that's what this is all about. This, and being able to sit around as a family and just draw away, pause whenever you have to. But anyway, what do you reckon? You want to give it a go? Come on then. Okay, now what I'm using today, I'm using an HB pencil, and I think HB is probably the best one just to get started with because it's sort of in the middle. It's between a hard and a black, and as I explained to you in previous videos, that H stands for hard and B stands for black. So HB is sort of right in the middle. So as usual, we're going to be drawing a line across the page. We're going to come up 5 centimeters just from the bottom of the page, and we're all across there. Now just remember, we just want to make our lines light, so we don't push hard, we just like that. I mean, I'm going to be pushing a little bit harder just so that you can see it properly, because I know it's not always easy to see on camera. Now what I want to do is I want to bring it in a little bit, make it even a bit clearer for you to see. And the first thing we're doing is just using basic shapes. So we're going to go like that. It's sort of a semi-type circle thing, but hey, it doesn't have to be, well, we don't want it to be too uniform. Make it like that, another one like that, so that's behind that one, and then we might just have, well, what about a shape like this? Any shape you want. And then I'm going to actually rub that little bit out, because what I want to do, don't be scared to make mistakes. That's what the eraser's for. We're using graphite, so it's easy to erase. So this one here, I'm going to make another one, but I'm going to do it like, I'm going to come in front. Alright, and I'm going to come down below. Now these ones here are all on that line. And this one we're just going to bring to the front a little bit, so it's in front of the other rocks. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we hold our pencil on its side, as flat as we can get it, and in little circular motions like this. Now yours is going to be different, not going to be the same, and so is everyone is going to be different, but we're going to use the same technique. And because the paper is not actually smooth, it's not mirror smooth, there's little indentations, and if you looked at it under a microscope you can see it'd be like, probably like big craters and what have you. But we're not, well obviously we haven't got a microscope to look under it and we don't need one. I'm just using that as an example to say that the paper is not really smooth as. So there's like little valleys, highs and lows, I guess you could say, and we want to get the graphite into those little valleys and highs and lows. And just take our time, we'll just go one at a time. So we'll just get this one done, and what we're trying to do here is we're going to try and create the texture of a rock. So we come out to that line and just go like this. Don't have to go over the side a bit. Now next thing I want to do is get my blending stuff. This one here, it's got a bit of graphite on it, and most of them you do. Once you've used the graphite on it, you can clean that off, but hey, I like to use it. And then just very lightly we're just going to go in, same again, little circular motions. We just want to sort of go out to the edge, so that the edge is not actually a line as such. It's not a hard line. We don't want hard lines. I mean, everything comes to an end if you look at something, but there's not actually a straight line. You come to the edge of a, like if you look at a post or a tree or something, there's no actual line, even though we have to draw it with a line because that's how we put the image on paper. It's like it just comes to the end and then fades away to whatever else is around there, I guess is one way of putting it. Rounding this all up, this softening all this, giving us a little bit of a rocky texture. Now I've got my blue tack here, and all I want to do is just going to go in here and and just take a little bit out. See how we're getting the rock-like texture now? And let's see if we can just try and put in some little cracks and crevices. You know how rocks are, they're not perfectly smooth or anything. That's what we want to do. And you'll find them. Yours will be, as I say, yours will be different, but they're there. I don't want to overcomplicate it. It's just a matter of just going in here and finding these little imperfections. And of course it's going to be darker on the bottom. There's ground on the ground, there's no light getting in down there. You just go along like this, just like that, see? I notice over here there's a little bit of a line going through there. That could be the rock split, or you know, this is just a generic rock. If you've got a rock at home, or you know, if you've got a rock lying around somewhere, well, you can use that. But I'm just trying to show you how to do it basically. Okay? I'm going to use my little blending brush I have here now just to blend that in. And all we're doing is just pushing the graphite around, making it go where we want it to go. Alright, now I'm just going to get our blue tack again. It's all about putting down graphite. It's called layers, layering. Putting down a bit of graphite, then we take a bit out and blend it. And that's how we just slowly build it up. So this is the line drawing. We've got the line drawing here. Then we've got the under drawing. So this bit we've done now is the under drawing. And then the next layer that we do, we'll be putting in the detail. So just sort of softening that up, blending it in. Yeah, see there's little bits in here. And like I said, I don't want to overdo this. I just want to give you the general idea of how to go about it. I'm just going to darken it up down the bottom there again, because the light source, which is usually the sun, is always either coming from the top or from the sides. It's never coming from the ground. So it's always going to be a little bit darker. And generally it's always going to be a bit darker at the bottom. And then I want to make that a little bit darker there, even though we don't like to have the dark lines sort of thing, but this will just create the impression that it's out a bit from that rock. Right, now I'm going to use this again. Now use your blending stump or a little paintbrush that I've got here. It's very soft. It's perfect for doing these little bits. Now you can see how the rock is starting to take shape. Bring in a little bit more so you can see a bit clearer. I think that'll be alright. Now, I can see here, look, there's a little bit going on here. And this is just very, very gently, just going in, little circular motions. And it's just creating a little bit more. You just take your time, you just blend that in a bit. Right, we're going to move on to the next one. Same process, we're just going to go in here, pencil flat on its side, as flat as you can get it, and then just got something going on here with that pencil, and try the other side of it. Yeah, it's just a little bit sort of chipped out, so it must be when I sharpened it. That's right though, that just gives it another dimension. And of course you don't have to just keep going in the same direction, you know. Well, I'm just doing little round circular motions, but then we might decide to go this way. Just round and round. I can already see different little shapes and structures starting to form, and it'll be a bit darker in here too on the bottom. If I look here, it looks like it's like a bit's broken away or something. Just follow them along. I've sort of got, I'm not using the point, but I've just got it on the edge of the point. Alright, now I'm just going to blend that again. Now don't expect to get this perfect right from the start. That's just asking too much of yourself. If this is the first time you've done a rock, don't worry too much about how it's looking, because at the end of the day, it all comes down to practice. The more you do it, the easier it will become. You'll just automatically, instinctively know where to put little strokes and little marks. Get a bit out now. You probably need to do these little exercises like this, which is really what they are, probably about 10 times. Once you've done it about 10 times, you'll sort of get the feel for it. You'll know instinctively where things should go. So don't expect to get it perfect right from the get-go, because you won't. And if you do, it'll be more by good luck than good skills. But you will get there. There's no doubt about that. You will get there. It's such an enjoyable thing to do. Just sit down and draw like this. You know, you feel the graphite on the paper, and I love it. I'll just see here, it's sort of a little bit darker there, so I might just play along with that and just put a bit of darkness in there as well. I don't expect you to see it all straight away, and as I said, you've got to practice, and eventually it'll make sense. And just don't try and overthink things. It's just a rock, it's just a drawing of a rock. And all rocks are, realistically, are just shapes. I can't emphasize enough just don't overthink things, you know. I mean, all we're doing is we're just drawing little shapes and then shading them in. I'm just going to use my blender here. I just want to just push that around a bit more. You know, once again, you can squint your eyes as well. And when you do that, what that does, it removes all the detail. So you're only just looking at the tone or the contrast. And really all contrast is just different, like black and white, that's a contrast. Now, I come down and do this one. Circular motions. And even though we're using graphite, an HB, the same pencil for the whole lot, by going over different areas, it will give us a darker tone without changing pencils. I'm not using any more pressure at all. I'm just going over in different places, that's all, to create the different darknesses, the different tones. Well, if you want to get technical, the different values. Soften that up, not too much. Don't want to remove too many of those little lines that sort of popped up because of the paper, the texture of the paper. You want your pencil nice and sharp. All I'm doing is just where I can just see little marks in there. It's doing it for me. All I'm doing is just following along. Just lightly. It's like that. That's what you want to do. Give that little blend. A little bit out. Might be a little bit lighter on the top. Just do some little highlights. So we're still really, well, we're working on the underdrawing, but at the same time, we're detailing it as we go. Okay, now this one here is in the front. I might just go this way this time across there. I mean, when you look at rocks, they're all different. You never see two the same. Just come as they are. I'm going to turn that around a little bit. I made this sort of come down here like this. Right now, I'm going to blend that. I haven't done anything there as far as trying to do any texture. It's just a straight shade. And then we go in with our little brush and just see what texture we can pick up from that. I see a little round thing here going on here. Yeah. Darken that up a little bit because I do want it to be coming away so we can see that it is in front of that rock behind it. Just going over the outline there. Practice this as much as you can and I promise you it will get easier. Don't get frustrated because that don't look like a rock. Don't be too hard on yourself. In fact, you should be patting yourself on the back because you're having a go at doing it. You know, as I keep saying, you know, anyone can learn to draw. If you can hold a pencil, write your name, you can learn to draw. There is one catch, and that is you have to want to. You have to want to enough. And learning to draw, yes, it does take a bit of patience and a bit of perseverance and that, but mostly it's just practicing. Sitting down, taking the time to practice. It's like when I used to do my doodling, you know, before I even started anything to do with art, I used to get so frustrated because I was thinking, why can I sit there and do this for an hour or so? You know, like a little scribble, wasting time, and I can't draw anything. But anyway, that's really what art's about. And even now that I sort of do, you know, some drawings instead of just scribbling or doodling, I really do enjoy doodling now. Because it's just like a release. You don't have to put too much thought into it. In fact, you don't put any thought into it. You just away you go and then see what you come up with. I don't know if that's how abstract artists work, but I don't want to make it sound like it's, you know, not important to be able to draw in an abstract sense. And basically that's it. There's our little rock formation. I'm just coming, better put a bit of ground in here. As you get better and progress and things, you know, your pencil erasers, which are brilliant. And you get your Tombow mono erasers. But this, you don't need this right now to get started. All you need is a pencil, a bit of paper. We do need a pencil sharpener because it comes a time when you've got to sharpen them. They don't sort of stay sharp for very long. In fact, most of my artwork, I use a mechanical pencil mostly. For shading, I'll use a wood case pencil. Anyway, and then just need a brush to brush away things, to smooth things over. This eraser here, this does the job just as good as anything else. Just make a little point on it. I just want to take a little bit out over here. We sort of went off the track a bit. One thing you notice when you're actually using, you start blending in that graphite, sometimes you can't see it, but it does spread around. So you want to see just by doing that. Now finally, all I want to do now is just put a bit of definition for the edge. And I'm just going to use more of the point of the pencil here. So it's got to be connected to the ground, otherwise it will just look like it's floating. There you go. Yeah, maybe we might just take a little wee bit out with the kneadable eraser, or in this case, blue tack. Take some highlights, or put some highlights in. by taking out a bit of graphite. And there you go. We have our little rock formation. How hard was that? It wasn't hard at all, was it? But like I say, practice it. And I think after you've done it about 10 times, it'll start to make a lot more sense. And all I've done is just follow along, and because of the paper not being smooth, like as in a mirror smooth or glassy smooth, up close the paper is like little valleys. It's up and down, and all we're trying to do is just place the graphite in these little valleys. Okay, I think we'll leave it at that. What do you reckon? Well, I'm really glad you watched it to the end, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. And you see, art doesn't have to be difficult, it doesn't have to be hard. It's just about putting the time in, putting a bit of practice. The 3 P's. Perseverance, perseverance, patience, and practice. You have to practice. But the practice, that's the fun bit. I mean, it's always about practicing to me. Every drawing I do, I look at a drawing and I think, wow, this is going to be a great drawing to do. I'm going to really enjoy doing this. But you always go through stages. I do. There's always the ugly stage, and you think, but I've learnt over the years. I've learnt that once you've got it in your mind, and you study the reference photo, you just got to keep going, and then it'll work itself out. It'll all work out in the end. Now, I'd really appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up, share it with your friends. If you like it, they're going to like it too. And feel free to subscribe. Leave a comment. I always answer the comments. If you have any questions, leave them down below, leave them down here in the comments, and I'll get back to you. Alright, well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.